That's okay. Okay, here we are today. We're doing some weird hamstring stuff into some weird deadlift stuff. So we're going to film some stuff and then we'll kind of talk more about it. So my mom is coming up into this stopper. Then she's going to break really hard. She's going to squeeze really hard for 5 seconds. And then she's going to lower back down. So this stopper is putting her at a position in where she has a less of a degree of bend. But it's a degree of bend that's related to our deadlift way over there. So whenever she would come off the ground, this is kind of the angle she would have to be in when her legs absorb, her hamstrings absorb the weight off the ground. So she'd come up for her 3rd rep, she lifts into the machine, then she tries to like curl really freaking hard like this for 5 seconds and pushing into that stopper. So we'll talk more about that when we come back. So now that she's done 3, she can come up out of it. And we have a deadlift set up over here, a deficit deadlift on some pads, and we'll explain that in the description. But she's going to do a deficit deadlift, and we're working on by having her elevated, it's increasing the leg involvement of her deadlift. So she's getting more quads, hamstrings, and glutes out of this lift. So we'll watch her. Her cue is to keep her belly button super duper tight, so that way she keeps her back safe. So belly tight, Mom. And let's go for 5 reps. Good, belly tight. Good, drift. Glutes, glutes, glutes. Good. Belly tight on the way down. Remember to use those legs. Let your legs come forward. Good, squeeze your glutes. Good, belly tight, use those legs. You're doing a stiff leg deadlift. There's 3. Drop your butt. Yeah, drop, reset. So you have to drop your butt and use your leg drive. So we don't want a stiff leg deadlift, we want to use those quads. So your knees are going to drift out forward over the bar, so that way you can use more and more of your legs and your thighs. So big breath, get your belly tight. Good, now push. There we go. You can see she's at the push off the ground. So she's going to sit up and get 1 more rep. Push, squeeze your butt, squeeze your butt. Good. Then we'll come down and take a break. Good. So while she's breathing, I'll talk through some of this so you can kind of relax, Mom. So we have the pads under the weights. And the reason why is we want her to come down in between each rep. But we don't want a jarring sensation on the lower back. And we don't want her to deload the weights. So by coming down and touching the foam, she can feel the weight touch the foam before her muscles would fully release. And when she touches the foam, her back doesn't feel a jarring of the weight. So the foam is excellent for controlling kind of ricocheted forces through the body. So it just makes it safer on the lower back. And then, like I said, the deficit means that the bar is starting lower on her shin. She's having to do more and more of a leg drive. And you can see how her body was kind of working through that on the first couple of reps, is her body kept the weight in the glutes and hamstrings, but didn't really let the quads get involved. And part of that was because she felt like safe in her bracing of her lower back in that position. And by letting your knees kind of drift forward, you would have to reset that tightness. So she was, instead of anchoring like this as she moved, she was anchoring this way. So that allowed her to kind of hold a brace in her back rather than having to refine it between each rep. So we'll come back around and we'll work on that on this next cycle. Okay, so here we are for another round. We're just going to show you guys everything again. So again, we're using this stopper here, and it's what's controlling the range that we can go. So my mom is just lifting a little bit into the stopper, so it's slowly into the stopper, and then she pulls really hard. So you do not want to lift really freaking hard into my stopper and bend my machine. I'll be mad at you, so don't do that. And then we're using a weight pretty heavy for her in the sense to where it's almost near her max anyhow. So say, for example, you have a 200-pound strength capacity in your hamstrings. You want like 180 on there, so you're only pulling like 20 pounds worth into this stopper. So you want to use near a maximum weight before you do that stopper. And that isolation again works on the exact range of motion that she has to be in on this deadlift, and it works on her hamstring strength. So the hamstring's ability to support and catch the weight of this deadlift. Now your hamstrings should be involved already when you're driving off the floor, but when that weight comes off, you're going to have a little bit of a fight for balance against the weight. So this builds our hamstrings' ability to stay recruited and involved in the lift. So my mom's going to keep her belly tight. So belly tight, 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 drive, and then squeeze her butt. Good. So her hips are moving into the bar. So same thing. So her head is in line with her spine, and then she's driving her hips forward. So head is in line with the spine, and then she's driving her hips forward. So use a little more legs, Mom. So come down to the bottom, let your knees come forward. There you go. Now drive and squeeze. Excellent. This is getting more and more leg involvement. So if you want to increase your leg drive off the floor of a conventional deadlift, this is a fantastic way to do it. You use the deficit by elevating yourself, And then also you can throw in some hamstring curl stuff too. So she did an awesome job. And again, we're using the pads. It helps control the ricochet out of the bottom, so you can see how safe it is on her back. Excellent job. I think you did extra reps. Did good. So I'm going to come over here and show you guys some more about this machine. So the idea of this is if you don't have a machine that has this stopper function on it, then you can just come up halfway and just hold for 5 seconds or 10 seconds. So you probably want to hold longer actually. So you can see the pull pin there, and then you would rotate this where you want it. So I could pull that pin and move this up or down depending on which part of the range of motion I want to emphasize. And again, you want to be using as much freaking weight as you can on this thing. So do not make this light and then slam the leg thing up into the machine. You will bend this machine and I will get mad at you and kick you out. So if you're going to do this, if you're going to give it a try, make sure that stopper is set. And you can see the numbers we have down there, like kind of like it starts like this would be like 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. Probably anywhere from like 2 to 4 is going to work for most people. Probably 2 to 3 actually. And that's going to get you the degree of bend in your knees that'll be best related to a conventional deadlift. And again, you would do a 5-second kind of drive into that support. And then you would come down, rest for 5 seconds, lift slowly, hit the support, and then drive really hard for 5 seconds. So we were doing 3 reps of 5 count holds, and then we're coming over here and doing 5 reps on the deadlift. And you can do anywhere from 3 to 8 reps in this deadlift to be effective. 8 would be more for bodybuilding, to get a lot of size in your legs. 3 would be more for strength development. So if you have the muscle amount you want, you just want to get strength out of it, then 3 is a better part of the range. So there you go. If you give this all a try, let us know how it goes. So good luck.